Okay.
Okay, it should be sending something now.
All right. Okay, I see something live. It's a black screen right now. Okay, wait. All right. So that looks good. The trippy part is that bottom corner, obviously.
Yeah, I could like stretch it, but then it will just make.
I
Uh,
sound good. What about you?
yeah, hello. I think it's okay audio wise. From at least the bars, they're moving fine for me.
You sound good. All right. So what I'll do is, unfortunately, the name of the show became Horizon Zero Dawn. So I got to change the name of the show.
Is that like a video game or something?
Yeah, that's a video.
Okay.
So let me just copy all of this content and just put it here. Boom. Hit save. Okay. And privacy is unlisted. I'm gonna make it public and not make it gaming. All right. And first of all, I'm getting tripped up because of the double audio. Hold on. Oh, that's better. All right. I'm good. All right. Now I'm just gonna change the edit everything to make sure it's correct. Make this public. We're not playing a game. We are doing, I guess, science technology still applies. It's not next Windows Gaming. I don't know why it's next Windows Gaming. Now I gotta wait for the thumbnails to pop up. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, luckily, all of this, the local recording of the whole show will be good to go, because
Mm.
that one will come out normal quality. You won't see anything in the bottom corner because I'm just recording it on my end.
And
It's
that audio test was fine and everything with
Yeah, the
like
audio test
local.
and everything was great.
Oh,
And our voices are on different tracks and everything. Desktop audio
oh,
is on a different track. My audio
oh.
is on a different track and everything, so I can bump up them as I see fit. Um,
Uh huh.
yeah, everything is good to go. I'm just looking for that one thumbnail that I had.
Uh huh. By the way, your mic's in focus.
Oh, it
Like in
is.
your face. Yeah.
Okay, now it's better, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Where did that thing go? Man, my files are just cluttered right now. I guess I'll just use this for now. Stream standing by, and then it's good. Boom, boom, boom. Everything is good. Everything is good. Okay. Boom. I think it also just could have been Discord that ruined a lot of it, like the
Mhm.
issues, because I've had this happen before with when I had Discord and I was trying to do a stream on YouTube at the same time. It just
Mhm.
doesn't like it. You have to have different computers set up for different things on Discord for
Wow.
Discord to be good. Well, Discord will be fine, but oh my God. All right. Finally. Holy crap. Like, oh my
Eventful.
God. Oh, it's been half an hour, more than half an hour since needing to start because of this. No wonder some people just stop doing their podcast. They're like, it's just people have schedules. All
Oh.
right. Now I got two folks there. I got the single folk. Let me drag yours here. I wish I had a shortcut button to just quickly jump to different scenes. Um, you got the build stuff. I'm gonna shrink this window so that I can actually see better. We won't be using Teams chat anyway. Um, all right. Finally, finally. I'm gonna exit out of all of this stuff. No one needs to see my Amazon wish list. Uh, I just want to make sure everything is good now. Oh my God, jeez. I don't know if you heard that.
Nope.
Okay, all right. Oh, we're good now. And take these headphones out of my ear.
Cool.
Oh God. Next time I'm gonna just record both of us. I'll just have the Mac Mini on standby like here, and it'll just have all of our things in it instead of
Mhm.
using one computer to do it all. All right. And I think at that point too, then I could also just listen in through the Focusrite instead of through the computer because this cord is snagging my neck. Yeah. Because it's the microphone that's the most important. So. And then we'll be good to go.
Awesome. Well, lots of
I think
things.
I can hear you now there, and then change over to Focusrite in case something loud comes up. Boom, and then dismiss, and then all right. One final. Let me see if I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Cool.
All right. Oh my God, podcasting. People do it. All right, you ready?
Yeah, all good.
I'm going to do the final preparations to just testing my voice. There we go. Scoot my keyboard over so I don't bump into things. All right. I'm going to share this stuff out finally. Get rid of the chat pane on Streamlabs. And then change this over to this here. Where is Brave? So I'm just doing one last thing. I just want to make sure everything is good. Okay. I'm going to share out the link finally, the actual link, after all 500 links that I had to go through. All right. Let's see. I may end up using Twitch in the end. Like, this is crazy. Once again, when you refresh, you still can't see your live stream. There we go. Now you can see it. All right. Putting it on Twitter one more time. All right. Of course, there's her name right there. I already had it in Twitter. Boom. Finally. Okay. God. All right. Minimize all of this stuff. I will have chat on the side and make sure it's the correct chat. On here. And of course it doesn't show you chat still. Boom. And I just want to pop out chat because I don't really need to see everything else. All right, that's all I care about. And then main stage. Let's see it one more time if I want to break it. I'll see if I want to break it or not. No, I'm not going to break it. I'm not going to do that. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That'll be insane. All right. Minimize all of that. I'm going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. I want you to talk first so I can hear, make sure your desktop audio makes. Okay. So that does pop in. Did you say something?
Yeah, hi everyone.
Okay, now I hear you. All right. Recording now. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Next Windows On Air podcast. We had a lot of issues that came up, but finally we are here. We are back. It is January 2022, and I think we're going to make this be a monthly thing just because tech hasn't had too much going on in the Microsoft world other than earnings, which you'll see in a second. My name is Kwaku Asafwajay, and I'm sure you already see it because you know it's Next Windows. Obviously, that's where I report from, Next Windows, the YouTube channel. And I'm joined with me with fellow Windows Insider MVP. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Salman Chisti. Yeah, I'm really excited to be on the podcast today, and really grateful for you giving me the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, so that is to start. So now we're gonna do quite a few things in this one here. We have a pretty beefy show just ahead. We're going to be talking about Microsoft's earnings. We're going to be talking about some of the new builds that came out for Windows 11. We're going to be talking about some Surface Duo news. We're going to be talking about app stuff, probably some concept stuff, some updates to Windows coming to the mainstream. What else is there? There's a whole lot here. And then we're going to have an app pick at the end. I hope you have one. So yeah, let's jump into it. So the very, very start, we're getting into, and my phone is vibrating, we're getting into the earnings of Microsoft. We're not going to go too deep into earnings as much as what we have on our show notes here, just because I feel like finance and numbers is not my forte. But I guess it's still interesting to kind of dive into what exactly happened this whole moment in Microsoft's earnings. Microsoft just reported their latest earnings, and they beat their earnings, if you know anything about stocks. And even when they beat their earnings, their stock price still kind of dropped quite a bit for a second, just because of an Azure section, which we'll talk about in a second. But in general, that is what we're going to jump into. So yeah, let me know, what do you think, Sam? Like, what with Microsoft earnings, what was something that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think, the huge uptake of Teams everyone sort of expected. The stuff with, I think, Surface was, to me, a big surprise. And the fact that the biggest, I guess, revenue maker, or the one that is, doing really well, is actually the Surface Laptop 4. Because perhaps there's not been as much push for that in comparison to, like, the Laptop Studio or the Pro. But I guess it's perhaps because of the markets in which certain devices, like, aren't launched in. But I'm not so sure particularly why the device which isn't, revolutionary, I guess, to some, is one way to put it, is the big revenue maker.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing that on Windows Weekly. I was literally listening to it last night from the twit.tv network. And like, yeah, Paul Thurrott was literally saying, yeah, the Surface Laptop 4 essentially was one of, like, the top thing, the main device they talked about in terms of boosting Surface sales so much. And what I took from an anecdote that I took from his whole spiel about Surface Laptop was that usually the case is you'll typically hear Microsoft talk more about the Surface Pro, because the Surface Pro is that 2-in-1 form factor that even here at the college that I go to, again, like, I see a lot more Surface Pros than Surface laptops. I don't see any Surface laptops, maybe like 1 or 2 out of like 10, whereas Surface Pros, like, anyone who has a Windows computer, I don't know if it's just where I'm at for school, I just keep seeing Surface Pros everywhere. Like, my own professor has a Surface Pro. I think it's a Surface Pro 7 because I can tell by the side of it. But like, my own professor uses that. Just a bunch of people just use Surface Pros. So to see that Surface Laptop was the one, and it's the one most boring form factor out of all of the form factors they have, being like the one they take note of the most, that's interesting. Now, I gotta say though, I do know that, we have Surface Laptop SE, we have Surface Laptop Go, and then we have Surface Laptop 4. I think it's 4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
What I don't know is if, when they're saying Surface Laptop LED, if they're talking about just Surface Laptop 4 or all of the line of Surface Laptop from SE all the way through 4, including Go. Because when you put all of those together, you can start understanding, because I think Surface Pro only has Surface Go, and that's a different name altogether. It's not Surface Pro Go. So maybe the reason why Surface Laptop did so well, at least they brought it out, name dropped it, was because, yeah, Surface Laptop was maybe their top seller, but it's because they have 3 different SKUs of Surface Laptop, and I don't even think the SE one is even out yet. And normally people can't even buy the SE in the first place for schools. So I'm thinking maybe that might have been the reason why Surface Laptop was the big one. because it
Yeah.
has the most things coming to it. Like it's got all these SKUs and it's got 1,000 things going, two different sizes for the 4 SE, right? I'm not sure if it's out yet. And then
Just came out. Yeah.
Go, and they have Go 1, 2, and I think we have Surface Laptop Go. No, we only have Surface Laptop Go. So we have so many of them, and it's just interesting to note that.
Yeah. I think perhaps the the slight difference in like release cadence in the sense where
Hmm.
like the Surface Laptop 4 was released in like April last year, so we're almost at a year.
Hmm.
Pro 8 literally just launched in India, I believe, as well, like
Hmm.
last week or something. Um, like the laptop studio hasn't even released in the UK until next month as well. So yeah, potentially it's that. But the other thing I'm thinking is that repairability, like of the laptop 4,
Hmm.
in comparison to like the Pro is much better. You can just upgrade the storage. So therefore, perhaps enterprises, like you're talking about students and your professor. Perhaps
Hmm.
enterprises are mass buying the laptop 4 because of its repairability, and I
Yeah.
think that could be where it's making up.
Yeah, maybe that might be the thing, because like it's it's interesting there. Obviously that wasn't the only thing on their earnings altogether, but like you said, the highlight that came out, at least us being
Mm.
more consumers than anything else, we don't own an enterprise or anything like that. So what we pull out of it is just the idea that that's their big thing. And looking here as well as another thing that looked pretty interesting to me. Um, as every By the way, just about every single let me see, every single part of Microsoft grew in this quarter. Literally
Mm.
every single thing. We're still in pandemic mode, but like we're less so in pandemic mode, and yet everything still grew. And Xbox grew revenue by 10%. And obviously, one of the things that we have to think about too is that Microsoft in these earnings reports, I don't follow them too closely, but they never release full numbers. So like 10% over what? Like Paul was saying, what was the previous number for various things? You just don't know those things unless you've dug into the last time they reported numbers on the thing, and then you can see it. So like I think they said like 2016 is what Mary Jo said. Like Microsoft reported numbers, I think on Azure or something. And by the way, Azure just grew a ton too, and it's just like these things Microsoft is booming like crazy, and
Mm.
their highlights are still cloud. Obviously, the top everything they do is pretty much cloud at this point, including Xbox. We can almost get to that point too. Um, Surface 8%. Advertising, ironically, grew 32%, which is crazy because I mean, obviously, I think it can probably bring it into like Windows because there's a lot of advertisements in Windows for one. I don't know about the Bing part of it for advertising. There's other things. It says Xbox and content 10%. Windows commercial products and cloud services increased 13%. Windows OEM revenue, so like money they get from OEMs, 25%. That's part of like the PC space in general. Server products and cloud services revenue increased by 29%, driven by Azure and other cloud services. What those other cloud services are, I'm not sure what those are, and I don't think most people know what that is. And I think that's where Mary Jo was saying like their stock market, their ticker dropped for a second because they were like, "What is other? What's the other thing?" And they just didn't mention that. LinkedIn 37%. Dynamics, basically Dynamics 365, Dynamics, all that stuff, revenue. Dynamics products, cloud services increased 29%, driven by Dynamics 365 with the growth of 45%. Office still increases 15%. Office commercial is 14%. And that was Office consumer before. LinkedIn 37%. That's insane. Everything is up. Like
Yeah.
they're doing very well, and I'm very surprised for some of these things, especially the Windows parts.
That's
So
good. That's good.
that's that's pretty good. Now we need some innovation and more Xbox Series X's to be made. So because I need one of those. But yeah, that's a good thing. Do you have anything else you want to bring in?
Um, Well, just going back to the laptop 4 point,
Hmm.
I just keep thinking about it, but perhaps the other reason is because it's just like that form factor everyone sort of knows, just a
Hmm.
laptop. But then it's a premium sort of build quality. So then
Hmm.
anyone who doesn't want to experiment with a pro or
They
like
can
a
just,
kickstand, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
that's
it's,
yeah.
I tried it at my local stores, like my Best Buy here.
Hmm.
It feels great. Unfortunately, I use a Razer laptop with like
Mm-hmm.
a really powerful GPU in it. But and actually, the Razer is actually like $500 more than your average Surface laptop.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's like, which one do you want? Do you want
Yeah.
performance or more looks? Razer's more
Mm-hmm.
MacBook Pro. Surface is, well, Surface, more MacBook Air, but Surface. And I think I like what I heard a lot of journalists say about the Surface laptop, which is like it's the MacBook Air of Microsoft's whole ecosystem.
Hmm.
Like you just need a laptop and you're just like, what do I want? I'm going to school. I have $1,500 for some reason to spend on a laptop. And you're like, all right, I know the company Microsoft makes computers and stuff. Why not get one from Microsoft? Oh, I don't want a tablet and all this extra stuff. I got a lug, keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
weird, flimsy keyboard. I mean, just get a Surface laptop and that's about it. So I see that point of where that came in on top of all of the other line of Surface laptops that just there, SE, Go, and then laptop 4. And the laptop 4 is divided itself, I think, into like AMD. I believe it's AMD and Intel. And who knows, Surface Laptop 5 this year with AMD's new Ryzen 6000 series,
Hmm.
you know?
6,000 is gonna be great.
Oh my God.
Alder Lake. Ooh.
Alder Lake. Oh
And
my
then like
gosh.
next year perhaps like Qualcomm because of the acquisition of
Hmm.
Nuvia, like
Hmm.
competing like with M1 and stuff because like they
Yeah.
had
And
Gerald
the
or
chips are going to get better too because if AMD does acquire, I think Xilinx, I believe,
mm-hmm.
it's another chip manufacturer. Like that, the boom for chips is really going to be a lot more. It's almost like
Yeah.
the supply chain crash was like the calm before the storm of like the true next generation of computing chips.
Also, it was not directly Windows, but Nvidia's acquisition of ARM, I think, is actually it might
Hmm.
end up folding.
Yeah,
Like they won't do it, I think, because of so much pushback. But
yeah.
that's an interesting one.
Meanwhile, AMD and that Xilinx, I think I'm saying it right. China just approved them.
Hmm.
So like I think that was the final country that they needed.
Uh-huh.
So like that's happening. Apparently ARM might go public so that instead of
Yeah.
a company buying them, anybody can buy them.
But what I don't understand there is that SoftBank, the the company from Japan, bought ARM like years ago. So
Hmm.
that's why I got confused in this whole story where Nvidia is now buying ARM, like the SoftBank now sell ARM to Nvidia, and now ARM's going public. That's sort of
Yeah,
lost.
that's
What's
a
happening?
lot. So for those people who are actual investors out there, that's gonna be a thing to watch out for. It might be a big money maker for those people out there. I personally am not gonna do that because I cover this stuff, and so that might be illegal. So, but in general, like it's crazy, like where we're getting to with where we're getting to with technology as a whole. Like we're getting to the point where even in gaming, and that's a good segue, honestly. Even in gaming, like we're just gonna have juggernauts that just own a bunch of companies, whether or not they actually do anything with those companies other than say we just own them, just being the grandfather company or whatever we call it. Um, that's just becoming a thing now. We're just Microsoft with Activision. If that happens, that falls through, that's gonna be amazing for Game Pass. It's gonna be great.
Hmm.
Tony Hawk and all the other games on there. Um, and then two, it's just like I know Activision's going through some crazy stuff. It's been like a year or so or more since they've been going through the crazy stuff, which we don't even need to get into at this point because there's so many people doing that, covering that every day. But like Activision, was it $68 billion?
Yeah, like 68.7 or something.
That's that's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot.
That's a
It's like
lot. But It's a
Yeah.
lot, but Microsoft this quarter alone, I think, made like $50 billion, so they can pretty much cover almost all of it.
It's just like well,
Ah,
it's
that's a lot.
shocking. Like just before the week before, there was an acquisition, the biggest gaming acquisition ever, I think, happened, and then Microsoft is like, okay, well, 68.7 billion,
Hmm.
and that drops. And then yeah, speaking of that, so Game Pass numbers might increase. So Game Pass hit
Hmm.
25 million subscribers, which is huge. Because like,
That's
imagine
crazy.
how many people are paying. Well, I mean that's the number, but like that's a lot of revenue per month,
Hmm.
let alone quarter, and
Like
that's yeah, awesome.
I've been a Game Pass owner since like day one, and I continue to get
Mm,
friends to join Game Pass because I think 3 months here in the US is like $1, for the first 3 months. So it's
mm-hmm,
like, even if you don't want to pay them every month, 3 months is a quarter of the year.
mm-hmm,
You can, for $1, you can't beat it. And then you can
mm-hmm,
play it on, like you can play it on, your Xbox obviously stuff. You can play it on your phone. Anything that has a screen with internet, you can play your Game Pass stuff. Is for the most part, which is
mm,
amazing, right? And even like with the earnings too, uh, they name dropped that Halo obviously was the biggest Halo launch ever. I'll get to the reason why. Obviously, that's true. It's a pretty straightforward reason. And then they also said that Forza Horizon, is it 5, kept up with Halo, just under Halo in terms of the biggest launches. But the difference between Halo and Forza is that Forza isn't free everywhere. Forza, you have to pay for it or pay for Game Pass. Halo Infinite, Halo Infinite, the multiplayer is free everywhere. So of course the users are going to be much higher on it. You can play Halo Infinite on Steam for free. You don't even need Game Pass for the multiplayer. So of course the user base is going to be extremely high. But Forza was right behind it, and Forza you have to pay $60 minimum for it, no matter what, which
mm,
was crazy to know that like
yeah,
Forza kept up with Halo, a game that's free in a lot of places.
yeah. Forza is a great game.
That's a
It's
great game.
super
That's
fun. Yeah,
yeah, I have a
like
steering wheel for it and all.
yeah, it's like next level.
Oh
So
man,
realistic.
it's so good. But like
I just get
in
shocked.
general, you said what?
I just get shocked, like the quality, um, of like all the different animations, everything. It's like
Hmm.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, like I think Forza is pretty much learning from Flight Simulator at this
Uh huh.
point, in
Mhm.
that we can just keep streaming in new things to you. I think that's where they're gonna go at least. Like we can keep streaming in. Like Flight Simulator, the world is so big. Like I showed my niece, she's like 8. Okay, she doesn't
Mhm.
understand. Like she's been to one country, France, and that's it. Where
Mhm.
we were last year, and like she's like when you leave from Washington D.C. to I think Reagan National to or Dulles International to, like, let's say you want to go to Paris.
Yeah.
She was I showed her on Flight Simulator, and she was like, she saw how much time it takes to fly there on the game. She's like,
Yeah.
is that minutes? And I was like, is that minutes? No,
Oh.
that's hours.
Hmm.
And then she related it when we came back to seeing how long it really took.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, those hours are exactly correct. That's how long it takes to fly there if you're sitting in the plane on
Uh
it.
huh.
And it's because they stream in the world, you
Yeah.
know? And that's wild because I have a feeling that I know it takes a long time to make these kind of big games, It takes a
Yeah.
lot of money and a lot of time. But now you'll be able to probably just, as long as you have an always on internet connection, if you want your game even bigger, they can just stream it to you instead of you having to download 800 gigabytes of file.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
Like,
like yeah, games like for example like Valorant alone is 100 gigs, and like
mm,
there's I think it's static. I've never played it, but I've downloaded it
uh-huh.
and realized I had 100 gigs on my hard drive. I was like, okay, I'll
That's a
just
lot.
uninstall it. So yeah, Game Pass
That's,
solves a lot of problems, and it's only gonna get better.
yeah.
And it's nice to see like Microsoft really investing and pushing for it,
Hmm.
like through acquisitions, through things like this. And another thing I think from this Activision acquisition, which is coming, is the mobile presence of Microsoft, like with gaming, because of King.
Hmm.
So like Candy Crush, of course, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But yeah, King is huge on mobile, and perhaps Microsoft's going to be creating some first-party games. I don't know. We'll
Hopefully.
see. Yeah, for
But
mobile.
like it'll be interesting because I know, like I said, we had Forza Street, I think is what it is on mobile. It's kind
Mm.
of like if you've heard of the iOS and Android game CSR Racing. It's like you just kind
Uh,
of tap the screen to hit the right gear to go faster and faster. It's like short races. It's
uh-huh.
kind of like that. It's practically exactly like it's a clone of that, but it's with the Forza name. Knowing how mobile is, even though I don't play mobile games really, I have a feeling that games in the future they'll have the same franchises as what we have, but they'll have those simplistic kind of things to them,
Yeah.
you know. So I have a feeling that might be what we end up going through.
There's that Forza game on mobile, Microsoft made it.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft made one,
Oh,
Xbox supported and everything, and
oh
it's
wow.
just like I'm trying to see if I can find it up on my phone here, but like
Oh
it's one of those
yeah, I
things. And
remember.
actually, you know what? I don't want to actually. You know what? I could say it. It's not in the order of what we wanted to cover things, but
Mm-hmm.
because we have essentially Android app support coming to mainstream people, like just basic stuff, right? The Amazon App Store. There are some workarounds to get any APK working, obviously, which are Android packages. But you could essentially, I mean, Forza Street, I think, is on the Microsoft Store, I believe. But if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted the Android version, you could also do that with a workaround, which I won't mention in the podcast because it'd be very long.
Oh,
But
I think I do remember searching for Forza, and that must have been it. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
Microsoft does have a gaming presence on
they do have a
mobile.
mobile
Nice.
business. So
Oh, my bad.
that's where I'm just like I'm trying to see if I can pull it up
That's
here, but
good.
I can't. Yeah, they have a mobile presence and it's an interesting mobile presence. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see one other thing here. So yeah, that's pretty much in general. I know we hopped around for the earnings part, but like so many things just tie into the earnings part, with mobile presence, with just Xbox growing and why they grew and things like that. Especially the Surface side of things that you mentioned, like Surface laptop has the most SKUs with it right now compared to every other Surface device out there. We don't have Surface Pro SE or Surface SE. Like we have Surface Go and Go. We have Surface Go and we have Surface Pro. Surface Laptop has SE, Go, laptop for.
And you could even say Surface Laptop Studios or
Yeah, you could
I don't
technically add that in
know.
too. So it's like they're just fleshing out the entire Surface Laptop line, and
Yeah.
and because earnings, their reports and their guidance stuff is so vague, you never know if they're actually talking about the entire lineup versus, and you
Mm.
never know if laptop studio is part of laptop line. And if that's the case, of course it's the name drop because it has the most things and it's going to sell the most because it's got the most variety in it. You can get
Mm.
I wanted one, but then I saw the graphics card and it was like not very good, but it looks nice. So yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Next up here, previously we just recently got a new build of Windows 11 in the dev channel. It was build 22543, and in that build we had some improvements in and some bug fixes. If you know how this channel goes, I know you're new to knowing about the channel. If those of you know new to how the channel works, is what I typically do is I don't cover all the bug fixes unless the bugs that were fixed truly broke Windows, and so they finally fixed it. Um, we didn't really have that, but there are some new features in it. I put a few in the show notes, but I just wanted to talk it out real quick. You do obviously you're in the dev channel, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have dev beta and release.
Oh wow, you
Like,
have all of them. It's virtual machine, I hope, right?
yeah, but also like all my devices, I think, are all inside the builds. I don't think I have any on like a stable channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same here. Same. This computer, we're talking. I bet some of these issues came from having a dev channel build running.
I was like hoping now that I'm streaming that like my computer doesn't crash because of anything.
I know. So
Um,
let's just pray and not talk about that.
but Windows 11 has been like much more stable, I think, in terms of like from release, it's blue
Mhm.
screening, green screening, as insiders know. Um, yeah.
Yeah, Windows 11's been pretty solid in terms of like how good it works. For me at least. I've had some issues. In fact, I guess that's where I want to mention some of the issues that I've had before I get into what actually happened in the build. I've had an issue, I think, since Windows 11 first launched. It has never been fixed. I don't think it's ever even been looked at when I put it up on the feedback hub either, and when I posted it on Twitter. It's never been fixed. And then I had a new issue that came up recently, as of like 2 or 3 builds ago. So my main issue that I have is that I don't know if it's in my monitor or if there's some application incompatibility. But when I first turn on the computer, um, I have to right click my start button, a couple times for the taskbar to refresh, for Windows Explorer to refresh. And sometimes I have to click it like 15 times, right click it like 15 times. And then that's when it goes from being opaque to translucent like it is. And
Mm.
while it's opaque, I then have to, um, I then cannot run any UWP or Microsoft Store apps. That includes even right-clicking the desktop and trying to go to settings. I can't open up settings or anything.
Oh wow.
So basically, nothing works but the File Explorer, and my browser, and that's it. And obviously, Discord and all the other Win32 applications; those all work. But I can't open up anything that came from the store at all,
Oh.
including settings, which doesn't actually come from the store. I don't know why. It's never been addressed, and I put it out there, on all the places, the proper places to try to get it some attention. It's never happened. I think at this point, what I'll probably do, and I even did a recording, my best recording to show what happens. I put it in the feedback hub so they can see. I don't know if it's because I'm the only one that has the issue or not, that like they don't see it because it's not up there.
Oh.
But I think what I'll end up doing is recording the screen of this computer when I first turn it on next time and making a video on it. And
Yeah.
as much as I hate clickbait, none of my videos have clickbait. I may have to put clickbait there to get the attention till it gets fixed.
What kind of clickbait is this gonna be?
You
Well,
wouldn't believe what Windows 11 caused my computer to do. I don't know. Like something to get the attention out there. Like I don't like clickbait. None of my videos do clickbait. I don't ever do it. I hate it. I hate seeing clickbait. But I may have to do that just to get the attention and pull it up to the top. Okay.
it's like the shocked face emoji, and then it's
I'll be like, like
yeah.
I may have to do that. And then the other issue that I've had recently, as of the past couple builds, is lately I keep seeing file system error.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily cause any issues that I've seen. It just pops up on my screen as soon as I log in, and then I just hit OK, and then it goes away, and that's it. So I'm not sure what error is actually going on because there's no error code or anything like that. It just pops up and that's it. I don't believe I've seen it in any of the blog posts being written that this error exists as a known issue, but that's a known issue, and that's another one of those niche things that I have found out, that like I guess not enough people find out about or know about or have an issue for, so it never gets brought up to be fixed. And I've even replicated. Well, there's not really replicating because it's just turn on the computer and it just does it. So I don't know what's going on there either. I don't know if it's an application incompatibility. Once again, who knows? But that's another issue. But other than that, the insider channels have been pretty smooth sailing for me.
Mhm.
No issues or anything like that.
Yeah,
What's your experience on them?
yeah, so I did have the issue with File Explorer. I think it was like 1 or 2 builds ago. I think it was 2 builds ago where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it would crash when you use the hardware buttons for volume.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might have been because the new UI for the volume was coming, and something in the middle when transitioning perhaps wasn't changed, but now it's fixed.
Mm.
So that was one of the issues I was having, but that's gone now. And then yeah, like the your phone thingy, but then again, that that's a very, very small thing. It's not really like a Windows bug. I think it's a your phone bug where the audio is
Yeah.
playing through my phone rather than through the PC when it should be on the PC.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, mainly like, and the other thing, like like it's a niche case, but like with when video editing, some software, perhaps it's DaVinci Resolve, will not
Hmm.
have the audio showing, or the like the beginning of the audio won't work. And when
Hmm.
speaking to the people from DaVinci or on the DaVinci Resolve Discord server, whoever it was, they were saying it's some like Windows bug previously. Um, the way Windows 11 handles audio or something like
Hmm.
that. So it's a very, very niche cases, but yeah, overall it has been stable for me, apart from
Mm.
very
That's
small
good.
things.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, those little issues, I'm sure those who run the insider channels. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna run an insider build, you should kind of know that you're gonna run into these issues. They say it all the time. I've mentioned it like 1,000 times. But people just seem to only want that the latest and greatest. They don't think about like I can break things. My
Mhm.
computer can just not work anymore. But that's why it's not recommended to put it on um, your actual machine, even though do what we say, not as we do. you know, because yeah, I do that and
Yeah.
then I complain. But hey, it's my part-time job to complain, so,
Yeah.
so I feel like I can do the complaining. Um, but yeah, that's what the issues we've run into. But on top of that, um, let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, so we have a new build out. They introduced some more natural voices for the narrator. If you know what the narrator is, it's the accessibility feature that allows you so that way when you hover over anything, it just says whatever is being hovered over. Introduced two more natural voices. If you know about narrator, they're not that natural, but they're natural. They're not like Alexa natural, but they're natural. They got obviously UI improvements and stuff, and one of the UI improvements that was brought in, and I'm gonna try to pull it up right now. Let me see if I can do the transition without breaking stuff. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I'm trying to not break anything on the screen by trying to transition the wrong thing in.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is gonna be an experiment because the way we're
Oh
somehow.
yeah, the way we're doing this, no one should ever do this. It doesn't even show my web browser as one of the options. Well, I'm so sorry. No one will be able to see what I'm talking about because it doesn't
Oh,
even want to show it.
well, whilst you do that, another thing
Hmm.
which I don't know if you've noticed this, but when using the Your Phone app, when you're, say, for example, using an app where you type in the search bar,
Hmm.
um, the on-screen keyboard just comes up on the phone all the time when I'm clearly
Yes.
using a hardwired
Yes.
keyboard and I don't have
Yes.
touchscreen. So that's something I've put in the feedback hub as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
because I have to press escape or some key to just
yeah,
close the
that
keyboard.
that type of thing. Oh, I got it. I fixed it. Cool. Yeah, see, that was a good so people can't tell that I'm trying to fix something. Yeah, there we go. So so yeah, if you can see there, you can see my screen and that the narrator update. So obviously we got Microsoft Aria natural in parentheses. Not sure why that's needed to say natural, even though they're all voices. And then Microsoft Jenny. I listened to Jenny and Aria. They sound all right. Um, so they're more soothing voices, I guess. And now we have David, Aria, Jenny, and I think there's another one. And yeah, you can set their pitches and everything as you see in the screenshot that I'm showing you. You can set their the volume levels and the speed they talk and all that stuff, how they enunciate things. So it's a nice it's a nicety there. Let me go back. So with that as well, we also got it says let me see here. We got narrated keyboard commands. I won't go too deep into it, but you can do various keyboard commands with the narrator. And then on top of that too, They said here, it says recent changes to the flyout design for hardware indicators. And they updated the media controls, which appear on the lock screen when playing music on a supported app. So now closely designed, the design now closely matches the design for media players in the quick settings when you sign in. So if you can see it right there, somehow they're playing the Batman from the Batman. Uh, so they done that. I'm sure Jen was probably the one to write that on a screenshot. So if I'm wrong, I don't know. So they're playing the Batman soundtrack, even though it's not even out yet. And then another thing here that they brought out here, they now allowed it so that way when you resize your snaps, your snap screens, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, when you snap your windows, I guess it didn't do this in the past. I don't know if my brain just never registered it. It now resizes like the fluent little icon and background behind it while you resize. That's pretty cool design little tweak. I'm not sure why it's so small, but so now it resizes it accordingly. You can see it like 1,000 times. Let me zoom out before anything like that. And then another thing, I'm just kind of going through the whole thing, and then we can discuss about it. And then another thing here says using Win Alt K, the keyboard, to mute your call will now show a confirmation flyout. So now don't do that now, obviously,
I
Sam.
was
But
thinking about doing that.
because what are we using? Teams. And if you press that on accident, you're gonna mute yourself and not know that you did it. Because I'm pretty sure Teams has a mute when you mute the microphone. You can change your input device on Windows to essentially mute yourself. Streamlabs and OBS have their own mute. And now you can use your keyboard to mute. So if you mute all of those and then forget to unmute one, no one can hear you, and you'll never know which one to do. I think that's what's going to be the case. I don't want to experiment it with it here, but I think now we have essentially multiple ways to be layered muted to guarantee our mute. So that might be something to experiment on later on. And then also they updated some design changes too. It says the input switcher improvements announced with build 22518 include updated design with an acrylic background are now available to all insiders on the dev channel. Before they were being A and B tested. And then two more final fixes, so I don't have to read through this whole thing. When doing a full build upgrade, the process ring animation has been updated, aligning with the updated boot screen animation. And then also the disk and volume and storage spaces align the overall design of settings in Windows 11. I tried to check what it was before, or I tried to check for those things. Believe it or not, the instructions that they show for system, storage, disks, and volume, if you try to follow those instructions to get to that place, you won't actually get there. The blog post is a little off on that one. I tried it last night or 2 nights ago. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But now let's discuss. Did you notice any things that are typically seen on these things? Did you notice anything different?
Do you mean like things that I particularly think? For example, the acrylic thing. I think the thing that I sort of thought about with that should be changed eventually, I think, for the resizing is that the window itself should just resize instead of doing that whole animation, because I want to see how the content changes according to the resize. So that's what I'm hoping will eventually come. Like, I'm not too particularly fussed about whether the icon size changes or the acrylic. So I did know that the behavior was there, but like it's the same sort of behavior which I don't want to be there. The narrator stuff, I haven't got around to trying that. I mainly saw this one as a bug fix change build thing rather than a new features sort of one. Yeah.
I mean, when I was first getting the build, and again, I discussed with you before the show started that I don't make videos on every build that comes out. Yes, I may put feedback in, but I don't make a video on every build that comes out, including this build. I didn't do a video for it because to make a video to resize for showing you just how it resizes, they've already made a GIF for it.
Yeah.
And that's not much. It's not like they said now Google Play Games is coming to Windows. Then I'd be like, okay, I need to dig into that, because that is actually coming to Windows. Google Play Games only.
It's actually.
Yeah, it's actually coming. So,
oh yeah,
but it's not the Play Store. It is not the Play Store. It's the games. So if you're a person who plays mobile games on your laptop for some reason, Google Play Games is coming right now. It's in like the Asian countries, like in testing in beta. China, I think Taiwan, and someplace else. I believe. So that's coming. However, with Android, I know we said it earlier, there are ways to get any Android app on your computer very easily, as long as you're in the dev channel, obviously. And then once this fully comes out, once the next step that we're coming up to, which is Android app support for in preview for all people who are running Windows 11, one app, or there's two different apps out there. One is at WSA Tools, and there's another app, I'm not sure what the name is, and those allow you to simply just go to the store, download WSA Tools, let it install, and then go to a website like APK Mirror, and then pick any Android app that you want, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever you want, and just download it on your computer and install it, and it's there. And then you just search for it on your start, search for Snapchat, and it's just there. But obviously, since Google and Microsoft are so against each other, I think Microsoft rather doesn't care, but Google is just like Google. That's never going to actually fully happen ever, I don't think. So you'll have to always do tweaks in order to get this to work.
So there's actually another Google news, I guess, which includes Windows to some extent, because they have Flutter, so Flutter like cross development. That I think they're planning to also get it having Windows as another target, and so you build in Flutter, and then it also builds for Windows apps as well. So that's an interesting one, because
it is an interesting one.
Yeah, Google's putting effort into creating a platform to surface their apps in Windows, which is pretty cool.
Because it's pretty cool, because like I always welcome, that I am a software person, and I always welcome any way to do more, like on whatever I have, whether it's, we were talking about how the audio interface that's been giving me so much trouble today, this Focusrite here, since it uses Type-C, it has software in conjunction on every device that has USB Type-C, so that way you can use that device on anything. You could use your audio interface on any device, your phone, your iPad, whatever. Even my camera here that I'm using. And so, like, the more ways, obviously, they got to be straightforward ways to get things done, obviously, because I'm not about the different ways to mute on Windows, because, like, you'll forget that you muted on one side and then ruin your life for the rest of, like, the months. You'll never remember which one it was. But being able to just know that one piece of software or one hardware or software can just work across everything pretty smoothly, hopefully. That's what they say. Like, I'm all for it. I'd always be all for it,
Yeah.
And yeah.
I can't remember all the list of changes which were announced for the Your Phone app, because the last Windows Insider podcast, the Your Phone app was featured. But yeah, seeing more development in that coming is great. Like, if you own a Samsung device, anyone out there, it is really good on Samsung, and I'm sure it is also on like the Surface Duo. Surface Duo, at least the two will be getting the app support thingy.
Yeah.
Which is, or your screen, whichever one is the screen sharing, whichever one's missing.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to see, and that ecosystem is becoming more and more viable.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much better it was just using a Samsung device for like link to Windows compared to like a non-Samsung device. Or
I've been through it. I've tested it with my old iPhone 7 that's here. I've tested it with the Surface Duo that's here, and then I tried it with the Samsung device. And then I have obviously, because you and I have the Galaxy Z Fold 3,
Mm-hmm.
I've tested it with the Z Fold 3, and I was also testing it in that, like, did they think about the cover screen versus the inner screen of the Z Fold, those kind of
Mm-hmm.
foldables, because the Duo only has two inner screens.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see that your phone can just know, I don't even know the word for it, knows the discrepancy between this cover screen versus when you open it up and
Yeah.
have the bigger thing. It knows, like, hey, you opened up your phone, so now you have more functionality out of it. It knows that, and it even resizes the screen to whatever size your phone screen is automatically. You don't have to
Yeah.
close out and open it up. It's not really janky like that. It just works. And I'm like, that's what I want from you, Microsoft.
Uh-huh.
Keep that part up.
So sometimes, like, well, when I'm using the Your Phone app, right, and
Hmm.
then if I just have my phone on the desk, I
Hmm.
don't want to see the cover screen when I'm using the Your Phone app to unlock
Hmm.
my phone and to see my home screen. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm using it on a 16 by 9 or 3 by 2 aspect ratio.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, why would I want to see like a slim window
Mm.
yeah, so I think in that sense, like I feel like they could just totally ignore the whole cover screen unless have it already opened and running, and then you want to for some reason. I don't know,
Hmm.
but yeah,
I
like
mean,
it's good.
I'm just thinking, like, right now, and even when I go to the gym and all that stuff, I don't really open up my phone screen that much, right?
Mm-hmm.
I typically do use the cover screen quite a bit. I wish it was more, I don't even know if it's in frame. There we go. I wish it was more like usable for a cover screen. I know this is not a review for the Z Fold or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
just the size of the cover screen, yeah, I can see, like, just people should just open it up, right? But then when you're at home, for me, this phone sits on my table right in front of me. I don't keep it open on my table. I keep it closed. And
Yeah.
that's typically when, if you forget that link to Windows is on your Samsung phone, the Z Fold, that's typically when I just go to your phone and it just is on, and then it shows whatever's on the cover screen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think to open it up to show more.
Okay.
In fact, it actually saves space, it being so narrow,
That is
because
true.
that means
Yeah.
on the monitor, because I have a ridiculous monitor already. So if you have like a normal size monitor, like a laptop, even a little 15-inch, 13-inch laptop, the skinniness of the Z Fold can just sit on one far side of your screen. And if you do want to do whatever you want with it, if you are a person who uses your phone, it doesn't take up a lot of screen space, because if you open
Mm-hmm.
it up, then it's like takes up like a third or more of your screen.
Yeah,
Yes, you
you're
can
right.
resize
Yeah.
it, but, like, to make it even, nice looking, where it touches the top of your screen and touches the top of your taskbar, the
Mm-hmm.
narrowness actually does work out, even though it's annoying to use in person.
Yes.
So,
That's actually a good point. I think perhaps what they need to do then is have an option. But yeah, that's specific Samsung. So I'm not
yeah,
sure how likely that will be like a huge focus. But yeah,
yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Because
I didn't think
Duo,
about
on
that.
the other hand, because the screen is so wide, it takes up a good amount of the screen especially when, not necessarily when you open it up like dual. But if you're gonna, I don't know
Yeah.
if I feel like if you're using the Duo and you are going to use it on your phone, you're
Yeah.
going to probably try to fold it behind itself, you know,
Mm.
because it will take up your entire laptop screen. If,
Yeah.
like, unless you resize this window, it'll take up your entire laptop screen to see both sides of the screens. And that might be a little too much.
Yeah. It's quite
That
quite a
might
big
be
one.
yeah, that's going to take up all of your space.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so I think now that we're talking about Duo in general, and Android, we've said that Android apps are coming in preview, as the next big update, for Windows 11 for mainstream people. Obviously, in the dev channel and even the beta channel, we've been using it for quite some time. Um, but Android apps are coming to mainstream users, and that basically just means if you're a mainstream user, you bought your computer like normal. You didn't opt into the Windows Insider program. You probably don't even know what that is. You just use it. You've updated your computer. You slept and you woke up and it updated. And now, I mean, it wouldn't. I don't even think it's going to show a prompt that you can use Android apps. You're going to have to go to the Microsoft Store if you're one of the few who does that, even, and you'll see Amazon App Store in preview. You have to go looking for it. You know.
So the point you mentioned as well, the people who use the Microsoft Store,
Mm-hmm.
like, so one of the things actually, I can't remember where it was, but apparently like Microsoft Store has been, you know, usage has like increased a lot since like Windows 11. So that's
Mm-hmm.
actually, yeah, since the like the redesign and stuff. That's actually good news. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so hopefully we're gonna see more apps coming to the store. We are already seeing, like, for example, even Firefox is in the store.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, like Adobe, I think, has put stuff in the store, so that's really great, as well to to have. So I wanted to ask you, what would be your favorite app which you could run on Windows through Android? You want to share?
Hmm. That's a good question because like I've even been thinking about doing like suggested Android apps type videos for
Oh, okay.
Windows.
We'll save that. We'll save your answer.
Well, no, no, no. I'm gonna do a lot of them
Oh,
once I
okay.
figure out what could be good to be used in conjunction with your everyday Windows usage.
Mhm.
Because it's a good question. I've been thinking about it. That's why I've never made the video yet because I don't even know the full answer to.
Mhm.
Um, I gotta say the apps that I use, believe it or not, well, the app that I say should be done the most. Mm, it's not a social media app, that's for sure, because their websites are typically pretty good. And most
Mm.
people who would go on their computer, they just go to Facebook or Twitter or whatever they do. And plus, we have a Twitter app already. Um, I guess it would be more so the stock trading stuff,
Uh huh.
or the crypto stuff, because on the
Uh
store there are no good crypto anything.
huh. Uh
There's
huh.
nothing. And the apps on Android and even iOS, but Android, since we're talking about Android, um, they have a lot of ways that you can keep track of crypto stuff. Even if you know about the wallet MetaMask and Trust Wallet and all those things out there, SafeMoon Wallet and stuff, like they have plugins on your browser.
Mm.
But to just be able to have the thing on your computer, obviously integration will have to be a thing where maybe you can copy easily and do things. But to be able to just keep track of those charting things, I know these investors and stuff, they like to look at charts and see how things are going and stuff. And sometimes going to your web browser and stuff, it can be a little hassle. So if you could just have an app you launch like Yahoo Finance or something like that, and just it shows up, it looks good, it's easy to see, and
Uh
just look
huh.
at it while you're doing your work, that would be the greatest thing. So I think, ironically, it'd be more productivity apps because I think
Mhm.
that's really the only point of why you would even want an Android app on your computer is to do productivity stuff. If you're trying to, honestly, video editing. You don't want to download an app from the store. There's only like probably Adobe and one other one that's probably, I think it's Power Director, Cyberlink or something like that. That's
Mhm.
probably like the top video apps that I can see on the store that do a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but on the Android side, they have a little bit of stuff. They have a little bit more, and they're easy to use too.
Mhm.
And that way you could just do your stuff while doing other things, and that's it. But I think it'd be more so these productivity ones like cryptocurrency stuff, since that's a big thing out now. Like you can just load your wallet up and see it in the corner of your screen, whatever's happening, and just while you're typing up your paper for school or doing your project for work or whatever it is, you can just check your wallet out in the corner, like okay, and then just keep going. I
Mhm.
think that's where Android apps would come in, because as much as it sounds great to have Android apps on Windows, I guess now that you're saying it doesn't seem like what it kind of feels like. What's the point other than have a sheer number, of like we have this
Mhm.
many apps, you know?
Yeah.
It
S
brings you to saying, what's the point?
Uh-huh. See, for me, I have one which I really think running on Windows is great, which is like the Kindle app, because
Hmm.
they sort of have Amazon sort of abandoned the Kindle for PC app, and unless you have added it to your digital content library, whatever they call it, you can't really download it anymore. I guess you could find it on some like old Windows apps website or something. Um,
Hmm.
but that is great because then you can store books offline, and like if you're traveling or something with your
Hmm.
laptop, you can still read it, or like a Surface Pro. Because the only other way on Windows is to use the Kindle Cloud Reader. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, well,
and
yeah.
that can be a little janky too. So
Mm.
yeah.
And even that, you don't have the audio whisper sync thingy where
Mm.
you listen. So like having that on Windows is pretty cool.
Actually, now that you're saying that,
Mm.
yeah, I can see that now. Like, it opens my mind up. That's why, having conversation with other people is much easier because like
Mm.
it opens you to some things that you may never think about.
Uh-huh.
I realize, yeah, most of the apps that are on Windows that say we have it on Android and all the other ones, they typically don't update the Windows whenever. They
Mm-hmm.
update it like once in a blue moon. I think Twitter is one of them. I think Instagram is on. Is it Instagram? Yeah, I think Instagram is in the store natively.
Instagram's had a weird journey
It.
on Windows.
Let me
Like,
see something.
because you used to be able, they used to, I think, have an app. And I don't think it was a pop up. I think it was, I can't remember. It was years ago. I think like 2016. You could upload photos through the Windows Store,
I remember that.
Windows app. And then I think they removed it because they wanted it to be mobile focused.
Yeah,
And then,
Instagram is a web app.
yeah, but now you can install it as a PWA and then
Hmm.
you can upload again.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, the other app I'm interested in, or like I think it would be cool, is having YouTube Music. The only problem is the Google services running on it, but like YouTube Music is like they don't have a proper app for it on Windows
Yeah,
at the moment. Like I tried to tweet the YouTube team and I was like, can you get like a proper app? And they were like, we already have it, just install it. I'm like, well, no, that's just basically the website.
they know what they're talking about.
Like, there's no
uh,
native integration. Like Spotify
mm-mm.
is really great, but I
Yeah,
don't want to
Spotify is a really
get
great.
Spotify because YouTube Music has more library than
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
I've heard that a lot too. I mean, like, yeah, there's those things. I like to say like as much as we love, I love like fluent design language and things like that. The podcasting apps, and I don't
Mm.
use Spotify to listen to podcasts as much as it's hard to people to grasp. I use proper podcasting apps like Stitcher and Pocket Cast, those things. So if you listen to a podcast, right, you could easily just have it in the corner of your screen. Will it
Mm-hmm.
have that stay on top function that is built into Windows? No, because it's Android. Unfortunately, I'd hope that there'd be more integration, but the programming aspect for developers to try to do that kind of thing, I'm not sure it's there for it to have proper integration like that. Because on your phone, you really can't do that either. Keep it always on top. You can put it pop-up window, but that's about it. So that'll be a different thing. Oh, and this is a good segue too. I just noticed at the show notes. A good app to have on Windows that's
Uh-huh.
Android would be a good weather app.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like the Windows 7 and Vista widgets stuff, a good weather app. Um, I'll just briefly go into that weather on the taskbar thing too, in that um, as a mainstream user, weather will be going to the taskbar on the left side if it's centered. I'm not sure where it's gonna go if your taskbar is on the far left.
It's gonna go to the same place as it used to be on the like
Oh,
near
so
the
on
clock.
near the time and clock.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so that will be coming to mainstream users as well. So basically, it stays cohesive with Windows 10, and it just stays smooth. Um, but yeah, I would like to have a really good weather app. I'm
Uh-huh.
still a fanboy of Yahoo Weather because it looks good. I'm surprised of Yahoo. Their apps just look great and they're simple. And when you're using the weather, you just want a simple app to just be in the corner of your screen and that's it. You don't need to like hover over it and then you go to news and see what Kim Kardashian is wearing, just you just want to see the weather, and when you hover over it, you see more weather, like the weekly forecast or something, and
Mm.
that's it. And so that's what I would say. So I guess since we slowed down a lot, let's quickly jump into Surface Duo stuff updates. Surface Duo 1, the OG, finally after delays got Android 11, but there's a caveat. It's only for unlocked devices, and it's not unlocked devices after you bought it as a locked device. It's purely unlocked devices. You bought it from the store fully unlocked. So like my Surface Duo here, and probably most of the recent people who bought one, the original one, we probably bought it on like Wish.com, not Wish. There's another site. We probably bought it on this cheaper site like BuyDig. like partially used, and it was like an AT&T version, and then we got it unlocked later on. That doesn't count. You got to get it unlocked first, and that way you can go to settings and look for updates, and you'll get Android 11. However, everybody else, including myself, that's coming later on. Basically, you're getting the AT&T version. That's coming later on to us, but the features in it, it's a bit of features in it. I kind of copied and pasted it in the notes. You want to look into some of those features?
Sure.
Let me see. So let me see. Yeah, you can just go through some of them. Take a sip.
Just before I go into that, the thing is with the Android and Windows stuff. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I think the stay on top thing. I might come because you can do the snap zones with Android apps. So that could be a possibility. But I think that's something we should push for if we get a chance for.
That'll be core for weather applications, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the first feature which we have here is the click for the button for the OneNote app, which is I'm kind of surprised that wasn't added earlier on, but yeah, that's already is on the Surface Duo 2. Yeah, you can just one click to open OneNote. Yeah.
And then let me see here. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so the next one is you can choose the preference for answering phone calls when forwarded. So I'm not familiar with the default behavior. Perhaps you are with that.
Let me see. There we go. I can show the screen. Yeah, the default behavior it says enabling OneNote when clicking the top button on the Surface Slim Pen 2. It requires the Surface Slim Pen 2 to be paired with the Surface Duo. Is the Surface Slim Pen 2 the one that just came out though?
Yeah. So the Surface Slim Pen 2 has a haptic feedback, but that's only on the Surface Laptop Studio and the Pro 8.
Yeah.
But also has a laser tip.
This feature doesn't like, for those of us who bought the Duo when it first came out in general, and before Duo 2 came out, you probably don't even have a Slim Pen 2. You probably just have a Slim Pen 1, because I have a Slim Pen 1. That's why I was asking the question. So therefore, this feature, according to their official blog post here, doesn't apply to us. It's technically for if you somehow bought an original Duo but bought a Slim Pen 2, which is kind of odd in my opinion. But okay. Yeah. I'm not sure why the difference is. Why can't you just do it on Slim Pen? I bet somehow someone's figured out how to get it to work on the Slim Pen 1. Yeah.
What? I'm confused.
That's confusing. Yeah. And I guess I'll read 2, and then you can read another 2.
Sure.
I see here it says here that when you adjust media volume directly from quick settings in any device mode, so you can adjust media volume directly from quick settings. I mean, that's pretty decent. It's not, like I said, this update list, you would expect a lot more to have come from it, right? Because Android 11, big things. It's not that many big things. And then also, and feel free to skip around yourself too, updated app drawer and folder design with improved drag and drop support. So I guess they're pretty much taking cues from Duo 2 essentially. They're basically making Duo 1 be more like Duo 2, with the more minor updates that Duo 2 brought, which is performance mainly. That includes the app drawer design.
And the one I'm gonna pick first is the Photos by OneDrive thing. So this is already a thing on the Surface Duo 2, where I believe it's like this. So when you have the dual screen look, when you click a photo, it opens on the other panel. I believe that behavior, but I don't think that was on the Surface Duo 1. But now it's come, and then I think I can see your Telegram. Sorry. Yeah, and then the other one, I guess the quick settings notifications.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you covered this already.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so it's optimized now for portrait and landscape orientations.
Hmm.
I personally don't have a Duo, so I
Oh,
haven't
really?
first-handedly experienced this. But
Hmm.
I think wasn't there another thing like um the behavior of switching applications. I don't know if
Let
it's
me
listed
see.
here,
They didn't really mention it here.
but
Feed
yeah.
design. No, they didn't really mention it here. I mean, we're not necessarily gonna go through the blog posts, the updates, because this is not really too much. The thing though that I have to take away, obviously, I don't have Android 11 on the Duo at all because I'm using the AT&T model. That's sitting here. It's even dead. But like they made it when you have your phone horizontal, I believe, and you are trying to make it vertical, and you're trying to open up the app drawer on the home screen, you would think that on Android, on average Android devices, even on the Samsung Fold stuff, if you turn your phone this way, you swipe up from the bottom and it opens up your app drawer. But on the Duo, your navigation doesn't even shift because it's dual screen, two screens. So it always stays on the, was it technically what would be technically the bottom of the phone? It always stays near the bottom of the phone, no matter what orientation. And so when you turn it sideways, you still have to swipe from the what the original bottom of the phone was to get the app drawer open. I don't believe they've done anything about that in this at all. Um, I kind of feel like I know they're trying to keep cohesiveness when you scroll between two screens and things like that, so nothing is like taking up the same thing isn't taking up both things. But it's kind of funky that you can't just swipe up from the bottom screen when you rotate it to
Hmm.
just open up the app drawer. But that's just kind of like a rambly thing about that. But other than that, there's not too much here. It's just refreshed Microsoft feed design with updated cards and a new start widgets for the news and weather. Um, yeah, so that's essentially what it is. And I noticed one thing when they said start widgets for news and weather. I'm surprised they didn't keep the terminology the same from Windows, calling it like news and interests.
Huh.
I'm surprised they didn't call it that still. They called it news and weather. So that's interesting. But
Yeah.
other than that, there's not too much going on, you know,
Yeah. Then.
with the Surface Duo.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The if anyone's not familiar with Microsoft Start, that's not the Start menu. That's like
Hmm.
now Microsoft News is called Microsoft Start or something like that.
Hmm.
Um. So that's yeah, it's just name change that they've had.
Yeah.
I was
But
confused
the
about it a
funny
few
thing with
videos ago.
that, yeah, it's very confusing. Because, like, the funny thing with that, though, is that, like, the news and interest in Windows 10, which is your weather and news, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're changing your interests, it opens up Microsoft Start on your browser, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it gets its news from and your interests from.
Yeah.
So this here, like you said, Microsoft Start is an app on Android that you can get, and it basically brings you a mobile version of the page Microsoft Start, which
Yeah.
used to be MSN. So it's all confusing. It's all
Uh.
very confusing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that's where I was like, it's funny because in here they show it as news and weather,
Yeah.
whereas Windows it's news and interest,
Uh.
and was yeah news and interest. They don't even talk about weather at all actually when they name it, even though weather is
Uh-huh.
part of it. So it's all just it's all kind of funky.
Hmm.
Let me see here. Where are we at? We are almost done here. Um, and then now we're gonna just, I guess we've already kind of exhausted the Activision thing. There's not really much to say about the Activision thing because it hasn't fully happened yet, right? The Activision Xbox merger potential thing, right? Do you have anything you want to mention with that whole thing?
Looking forward to seeing all the games and all the stuff that comes out.
Hmm.
I was watching the WAN show, if you know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I was I think Luke was talking about how the acquisition was inevitable by some form, and that he was saying that he thinks that Microsoft is the best company that could have acquired um, Activision. Like it could have been like Tencent perhaps, or and like some
Mm-hmm.
other companies, but they perhaps don't have enough money. Um, so yeah, because like the state of like multiplayer on already for Activision just apparently is not that good. So
Mm-hmm.
that coming. So there's lots of positives to there being Game Pass, the service potentially improving, the culture improving with Activision themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Hopefully.
yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Because I remember growing up with Activision. I don't want to go on a rant tangent on that, but growing up with Activision with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, when I was super young, and then obviously Blizzard Entertainment before they were part of Activision or before they came together with Diablo, and StarCraft and stuff like that. And it's a shame like all of those people have left because of this.
Hmm.
And obviously Bobby Kotick has been around since the very beginning of Activision. I think he's the one that kind of brought it up to what it is today.
Hmm.
And I guess, according to all these things, reports that everything has been happening for a long time. It's just for some reason someone now spoke up. And
Yeah.
now it's been like a year and a half that there's just constant drama in Activision. And now also Blizzard, you know. It's crazy that you can have a company like that and then things just crumble like this, like a snap of a finger. You
Yeah.
know.
Like,
It's
it,
it's crazy.
stuff should be
But
like everyone should be like treated with respect no matter what, and it's like
yeah.
this culture stuff. Like if like I feel for all the employees who had to, face all this like stuff because like
Hmm.
they should have a safe environment, and that like the least you can expect is that your employer should be there to support you. But it seems like there was a lot of stuff going on, and
Yeah.
unfortunate for them. Yeah.
Yeah. To think like we haven't heard anything coming from Epic Games. Like I almost worked for Epic Games,
Hmm.
like at their headquarters, and to think that we haven't really heard much from them about anything, right? They're
Yeah.
just busy suing people. That's pretty much it. Uh, but we're not gonna get into that one.
Fortnite
I
dance
know.
and stuff. And
Fortnite, I almost moved to there. I almost moved near their headquarters, and I think
wow.
Morrisville or Cary, North Carolina. I think it's
Hmm.
Cary. I almost moved there to work
That'd
there,
be.
and I
Hmm.
didn't do it. So, because I know the gaming industry is rough on those. Like,
Hmm.
unfortunately, there's prejudice in the gaming industry, but unfortunately, it's not really my place to say anything. With that
Hmm.
whole stuff, I'll leave it to the professionals to decipher all those things of what goes on in that, corporate
Hmm.
politics for that stuff.
Yeah, so
So
that's what
yeah.
I'm hoping with like this Activision stuff is like it's like, such a huge studio like nine or like whatever I guess a company studio
Mhm.
like 9,000, 10,000 employees. So like hopefully like Microsoft's known for its good like culture and stuff and work life
Mhm.
balance. Hopefully that sets like a standard across the industry that gaming doesn't have to be perhaps seen as such a hard industry and like brutally like hard like difficult industry to be in because I have heard like gaming can be such a hard place to be in like other
Mhm.
companies. So hopefully it does
Hopefully it
improve.
eases up, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say they were my favorite company, but like I grew up essentially with Activision games.
Mhm.
Like I said, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, especially Tony Hawk's Pro Skater,
Mhm.
in their early 2000s and 90s, and Diablo when with Blizzard, and like I still play those games to this day. Well, not Tony
Yeah.
Hawk, but I still play Blizzard titles to this day, and hopefully that doesn't like. It's not gonna make me not play the games. People usually say you should be on strike. Like, hey, they're doing bad things. Why are you playing their games? But like, they're fun. I can't
Mhm.
deny it that their games are fun.
Mhm.
So, I mean, like, what can I do? I'm a gamer too, so
Mhm.
it's a game. But
The
depressing news aside, you have one more thing.
yeah the Phil Spencer didn't he say
Hmm.
something like he wants to bring back old franchises or old games from Activision. So
Banjo Kazooie. And that's
yeah.
rare, just rare.
Mm.
So I thought that was Activision at first, but Banjo Kazooie, they should do
Mm.
it. That'd be great. Make a three. I can't wait for that one. Nintendo 64 days, or maybe even if you license it up, and maybe it's because maybe if Microsoft, it's kind of off what we're talking about, but maybe Microsoft should like speak with Nintendo and be like, hey, we'll let you use the license to Banjo Kazooie. I know Nintendo just put Banjo Kazooie on their Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass. Maybe you should think about reviving that franchise and making a whole new version.
Stuff could happen. I don't know because like there's loads of events where literally there's a Nintendo Switches in the back of like Microsoft execs like backgrounds. So
Hmm.
perhaps like Game Pass is coming to Nintendo
That would be
Switch, and then
amazing.
perhaps
I'm
there
sure
would be
Nintendo
something
does
to
not
thing.
care. Nintendo's just like, we already do cloud gaming anyway with individual titles.
Yeah, Nintendo's cloud they charge you. You have to pay to save stuff to your SD card or something. So like I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
it's kind of crazy.
But they're yeah
But
they're doing well. Yeah.
I think, like you said, Game Pass, bring Game Pass to Switch, right? I mean, I have a
Mm.
Switch. It's like right next to me. Um, I think that could be, Nintendo's doing game Switch Online expansion passes. I don't. I guess why do they call it expansion pass? I don't know. But like they do
Yeah.
that. They could do an expansion pass with Game Pass included. I don't care if you double the price.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
make that because Switch Online is already cheap. You can get like $20 for a year of Switch Online to just play online, and then if you want the expansion pass, I think it's like 15 or something a month. Um, and then if they add Game Pass to it somehow, if they reach a partnership deal with Microsoft to do Game Pass, I'm sure they'll want to pay off how much it costs to do that partnership. But like $30 a month to add Game Pass to Switch Online, and therefore not only are you streaming SNES games, NES games, Nintendo 64 games. I don't think they have DS games yet, but Xbox games too. Like,
Mhm. It's literally. I think it makes so much sense because like think about the hardware. Nintendo literally improved their screen
mm-hmm.
to mini OLED or whatever they did. That's
Uh-huh.
it. In
Full
for
OLED, that's it.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not doing so well in the processor, the chip space.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're not gonna be running AAA games or whatever. And like if they need to improve stuff, well okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then like okay, the space of games already on your SD card, and like the form factor of the Switch, the competition that they're gonna have now is the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck is gonna be able to run all these games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing over Game Pass is going to lure people in perhaps to be able to have Game Pass on a handheld like that. Plus, be the like Nintendo's still going to get people buying because of their exclusives. Like it's a win-win, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I bought it
there's.
strictly because of Pokemon and like some other
Mhm.
games. So
Yeah, like
like, yeah.
yeah. For me, Mario Kart or like
Yeah, Mario Kart and Mario games
stuff
in
like that.
general, like
Yeah,
Odyssey, like Zelda. I
so
bought it because
good.
of those titles I grew up with, and
Exactly.
$300 to pay for pretty much. I mean, I have a lot of games, but I don't. They're all from the same like three franchises, mainly two
Mhm.
franchises, really.
Yeah.
Um, so to add Xbox on it too, and not have to play it on my crappy phone, because the problem with these folding phones is you put on a case on it. Most of
Mhm.
these controllers that you can use for these things, and I'm not using an
Yeah.
Xbox controller, they don't work because it'd be too clunky with the full Xbox controller. I know they want you to do that, but I like the Switch style, where the screen's
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
middle, and yeah, I like that. I think that could work,
Mhm.
and I think that could be a major like. And I don't know how Nintendo feels about doing this because I know Banjo Kazooie just came out on Game Pass, or not Game Pass. What am I saying? On Switch Online expansion pass.
Mhm.
Like just the game. I think is the only. That's just the game that came out. Um, so I'm not sure. I think Banjo Kazooie is also on Game Pass, or is it
Mhm.
Nuts and Bolts? I think I'm not
Not too
sure,
sure.
but like I'm not sure if they already have repeat games that are on Switch Online, like through the that service that are also on Game Pass. So I'm sure they'd have to do tweaking with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if, in the long run, in the end of I don't even want to say the end of the year. I'm sure Nintendo's due for an update for it to Switch anyway, like at least an Nvidia update, or even if they go
Mhm.
AMD's route, who knows? Whatever they use,
Yeah.
um,
Thing is,
they're
they
due
don't
for an
even have
update.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they are because
Yeah.
that Pokemon Legends and Breath of the Wild, like their frame rate noticeably drops heavily.
True.
Their audience doesn't care about that, but
Mm-hmm.
it would be nice to dock your Switch and go into 4K mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need a bigger processor for that. So I gotta say, but I guess we should move on since it's already running pretty. We've already started running pretty long.
Yeah.
Um, like now we're near the end of things. As I know you're new to the podcast, but I typically do a concept of uh, I wanted to say the week, but it's not of the week. It's of the month. And so I picked two here, and all we're gonna do is discuss them pretty briefly. What you think about it, because I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm showing you right now already, like of
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily this picture, but of the
Yeah.
similarity in Windows.
Yeah.
And so you can speak on it. And then I have another one as well, just two of them to discuss on. So let's go full screen. But first, this concept was from Reddit. It is from the user, I guess it's Dolphin Studios. It's just 3 days ago that it was posted, and it is a new volume flyout with improved readability and enhanced functionality. Basically, going bigger screen. It's basically like it looks like the Windows 10 one, or even the one that just left us in the Insider channels, basically from Windows 10, but updated with Fluent UI and all that, the good stuff that Microsoft has, and actually shows us what is playing. Because it looks, I think the latest build that came out, or the two latest builds that came out recently, past weeks, they updated the UI of the volume flyout, but they took away the ability to see what you're playing and to pause
Mm-hmm.
and play those things. I don't know why they took that away, but they took it away. So this person very quickly realized that and said, "Hey, this is my vision of what it should have been." So what do you think
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah. I would like them to see where they would like to place it. I think that's an interesting thing to think about as well. It reminds me of Modern Flyouts, if you know that
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they tackle that is that you could drag it around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do think it looks really nice. And it's they've added the number as well. I
Yep.
noticed, which is missing currently. Um,
Well, that number is actually back as of
oh,
the
is it
recent
back
build
now?
now. Yep,
Oh,
it's
is that
back.
where I read the? That's why it's
Uh-huh.
perhaps in my mind because I wasn't sure if I saw that on the feedback hub or read it somewhere or perhaps it was in the notes. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's in the
Yeah,
notes. Yep, that's
nice.
back. In fact,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the same, like the volume indicator for us right now
Uh huh.
to this person's thing. They just probably used Figma and they got the exact icon that Microsoft uses for volume
Uh huh.
because it's the exact same volume. The drag slider is the exact same as what we have, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a drag slider.
Uh
So
huh.
they kept it still the same, right, as what we have when we open up our, for our whatever you call it, pan, the quick settings.
Yeah.
Um, and then they added like Spotify, for example, which is another thing. Like I said, that I don't know why that left. I don't know why the idea wasn't put into, because I think when I look at this and I kind of sit back and look at it, this volume flyout, like you said, the location of it, like our current volume flyout in the dev channel, I feel like it doesn't belong in the bottom middle.
Uh huh.
I feel like it belongs towards the middle, yes, to keep things lined. I know they want to, yeah, I know if you have different, I think they put things in the middle because people are getting bigger and bigger screens. And so you don't have to
Yeah.
stretch your neck. But they can move it up towards like the middle top.
Yeah. The way like iOS does it.
Yeah, like they even kind of still had it, only it was on the left. They can keep it in that kind of spot. And then that's probably why we don't have what's playing either, because they don't have space,
Uh huh.
you
See,
know?
I'm trying to think about it from their point of view why they did this, and perhaps it could be because if you're using hardware volume buttons, right, or hardware
Hmm.
brightness controls,
Hmm.
you don't need to you're perhaps just focusing on changing the volume or the brightness
Hmm.
itself only, well, of course I guess, but
Hmm.
if you wanted to change the music which is playing, you have that in the action center. which you can use your mouse to click. So I'm thinking perhaps that's why. The thing I do like about having it small is that it's non-invasive. So if you're watching
Hmm.
YouTube in full screen, for example, it's very small. The issue with the old one I didn't really like was that it was like it was like covering part of the video
Yeah.
in like the top left, and it was quite because it was vertical and like quite big in
Hmm.
relative. I guess it to me um, I prefer that any implementation where it's either top or bottom,
Yeah.
and perhaps even not even having this box is actually nice because it covers less.
Hmm.
But I do like the design.
I think so. I'm trying to be as a normal person as possible because I know that's hard for people who cover things like we do.
Mm-hmm.
To be as normal as possible, thinking in my mom's shoes, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't notice the volume fly out at all. Okay. If she needs the volume cranked up, she's going to go on her laptop and it's got a key on her keyboard to just increase it. Keep pressing it and it
Yeah.
goes up, right? That's for laptop users now. Okay. At normal person, laptop user. Obviously, most normal people don't also use a desktop in the first place. They usually just use laptops now too. So
Mm-hmm.
most of them don't pay attention to how loud it is. Um, Maybe they only just need an indicator like what we have currently in the dev channel. They don't
Yeah.
need to know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
However, once you go larger screen, right, you have more real estate.
True.
And I think the old one, I'm not sure if I think the old one was still like metro styled kind of feeling where it was like flat, black, and opaque. You couldn't see past it. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the nice thing with the new Fluent UI is that you can see behind elements, right? Even if it's slightly blurred in the background, right? So it doesn't completely take you away from seeing your video, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the timing of it is key because if this thing stays up too long or too short, you won't be able to interact with it. Personally, I don't see the point in needing to drag the slider itself, right? Like that you see here,
Yeah.
because you'll just go to your settings and slide it there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to know what number and where, how far up the volume is, definitely is useful. And then what you're playing, because sometimes you're doing something on your computer, tapping away at something like that. You might have 13, 20 tabs open. Something starts playing. You don't know what's playing. You can't even
That's
tell
true.
because it's
Yeah.
small of an icon. So knowing what's playing here, that's kind of what I like. However, what I kind of feel like what Microsoft should do based on this concept is maybe put an X button next to that playing thing. And maybe when you hit that X button, whatever's playing on your computer that it shows stops playing. Not a
Uh-huh.
pause, but like it just goes away. Like it's the video pauses automatically, whatever it is. So that's why I don't even need to have a pause button or even a fast forward or back. All I want to know is what's playing and then to get rid of it if I want to get rid of it. And that's it.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, yeah, having the ability to change. I think the old UI had this where you could choose if it's Spotify you're controlling or YouTube is controlling
Yeah.
to flip through that. I think one way to just like solve all of this is just to give us an option for power users if they want this or not.
But what
Like
should be the default? The
the
default should be what
default,
we
I
have
think.
currently.
Um, Perhaps, yeah. Because like if you're not if you're not like running 50 apps
Hmm.
anyway, like you just have Word open and like YouTube playing music, then
Hmm.
you perhaps know. Um, yeah,
Yeah, you
if
do know. Yeah.
or it could be like an expand option. So there's a little
Mm.
arrow and then it
Yeah, like
expands.
modern flyouts, I think does that.
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
believe does that. I made a video on it, but I don't remember exactly because I haven't gone back to it yet.
Mm.
I think it does that. Obviously, try to keep it as simple as possible with not too many things that you can do. Because that's one of the problems too with what we deal with Windows is that thinking about every single person's needs,
Yeah.
versus just honestly, since no normal person goes to settings in the first place, right? Like you said, it should just be a power user feature. Let's say by
Mm.
default, you install the update, it switches your volume thing. Who knows what the location should be? Maybe the location won't be down by the taskbar, so you look down, but maybe like middle top somewhere,
Yeah.
but same size that we have currently. And then as a power user feature, maybe add in a blog post, something like that, and be like, hey, by the way, if you want to make it show more information, just go to settings with sound, and then you can add show information with volume flyout, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Don't have any extra buttons or anything crazy like that. Don't make it too complex and complicated looking and like overthinking it. Just keep it simple, because in a way that's what Windows 11 is just returning to just keeping, well, not really returning, but keeping things simple. And if you want it, you can seek it out. If you don't want it, well, you don't have to deal with it. And I think that would
Yeah.
be the best, because everyone uses laptops mostly. Normal people mainly use laptops. They don't use desktops really. So they have small screen real estate. So this wouldn't work, but it looks nice. Power users, on the other hand, with these bigger screens, like 27 and bigger, this would work. But by default, normally people with bigger screens would never look at this too much. It might be nice to see what they're playing, but maybe the final thing that I can say with this to move to the next one is perhaps Windows does know based on what screen size you're using. Most devices know based on what screen size you're using. So maybe if it detects a certain screen size, it automatically shows this.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
therefore, that would solve it.
what could be a difference is also like don't even show the app or the what's playing, just have the media controls. And then it's still small. Like you can control it. And then if you like you have the buttons, right? So you have and that can be even more compact.
Yeah. And then don't even show. Yeah. I guess it's trying to, I don't know. I like seeing what's playing. It's hard to think in a normal person's shoes, but like it's hard to see it's hard to not want to see what's playing. Like if I open up my phone or any of the phones here, right, and I at a glance I just want to see what's playing, right? Pause or play. I was just using AirPlay in the living room just now, or like it's nice to see what's playing. I like this implementation overall. With the numbers too, and this is exactly what this volume area is exactly what we have right now. So they just kind of carried it over. You can tell that's the inspiration. And then here, I like this idea here. And I guess my X button thing to stop it, I guess it doesn't matter because there's a chance you might go back to that video anyway. You don't want to close out the tab by hitting X or something. So I guess this actually does work now that I'm thinking back. And I guess if you're a normal person, if Windows decides to say, hey, you're using a size bigger than whatever, we think that you can afford to have this extra thing on there, and then it all just shows up based on screen size. Of course, you can turn it off if you want. I think that might work.
Mm-hmm. This might be a far-fetched as well, because like we might be I might be thinking about it too much here, but like it show the media controls. If you do want to know what's playing, hover over it, and then it expands. And like
actually,
fluent design, like animation, whatever.
Yeah, that could work. It just peers in from the background and it shows you where are you now. Like this song.
Like expands a bit, like by a few pixels, and
so if you go up to the volume slider, the Spotify thing, like you see here, shows up.
Yeah, it like
that actually might work.
Floats up. Yeah.
That might actually be it. So that way it always stays simple. Very simple, but if you really want it, you just hover over. Some people are going to be like, oh, but what if I want it to always be there? It's like, well, that's too bad.
Well, you could pin it. There could be a pin option.
But I would say if you're going to pin it, put it in settings. Don't put it on the screen here. Keep it simple. Because it's Microsoft, if you tell them this kind of idea, they will put all those buttons on there and it'll be too complicated. So don't do that. Just let it appear, and maybe only let it appear if you have a certain screen size automatically. And if you want it to pin, then that's it.
Overall, though, I do like the new UI compared to the old one.
So do I.
Yeah.
It fits in finally.
Yeah.
So now, the next one, the final concept of this one. This is from Boca Designs. I think I've covered it. I think he has a YouTube channel. This is Windows Start Menu plus Taskbar concept. Don't think about this too hard, but this, after this image loads very slowly, is a fat concept. Wow, he did more than just Start Menu. Oh, Taskbar and Start Menu.
Yeah. Wow.
This has a lot going on with it, including a lot of color that we don't have on Windows. So Um, hmm. I feel
Where
like
to
he has a
start?
YouTube channel. I don't even know where to start. My eyes are looking everywhere because there's so much color going on. It looks nice. I gotta say his color choice, like everything looks, you can tell he's been doing concept stuff for a while.
Mm,
I gotta say, for those people who have been yearning to go and obviously ignore this area here, I don't know if you see my mouse, but ignore this area that says Boca at Boca Designs. He's just trying to advertise himself. Imagine that just doesn't have any at symbol there. So it's just your profile, or imagine just it doesn't have any writing here at all, and it's just a picture. Who knows? But it looks like I don't really like it.
mm,
I think it's doing too much.
yeah. I perhaps I think it reminds me of Ubuntu a lot.
Yeah, like a
It's
lot of
like
different
got that
SKUs.
aesthetic. Like,
I don't.
but I do think it's nice.
It's
Um,
nice looking, but I don't
yeah.
think it works for Windows at all. Because as we were saying, this is the typical laptop size screen, right? You see, and I haven't commented on this on any video, but I know that the start menu on Windows 11 takes up a stupid amount of space on laptops.
Mm,
And you cannot resize the start menu on Windows 11. So when you have a 1920 by 1080 screen, the start menu when you open it up takes up legitimately half the screen, and you can't
mm-hmm.
resize it. I guess you can scale a little bit, but like you can't really resize it. No normal person is gonna scale. Um,
Mm,
so here, having all this jumble of icons and it looks like folders here, like Epic Games folder here with Unreal here. It's like iOS kind of feeling. It's kind of like mixed Windows 10, feeling with tiles, like live tiles. You can tell he's thinking about your live tiles here. History, however, right here, I kind of like this idea. I think a lot of people have mentioned stuff like this. Windows has recent currently, and recent is not really recent in Windows 11 because sometimes I'll open up a file or I have downloaded a file and it doesn't show up under recent. So
mm.
if recent was really recent and it actually told me when, I think it tells me when. Let me see. Oh,
Yeah, I
it does
think
tell
so.
me when. It does tell you when.
Yeah.
Okay. But recent doesn't always show me the most recent file thing that I did. Usually what I would think is recent would be, hey, I just found a SIM card. Hey, I just downloaded Yakuza 5 or Tales of Arise or whatever you want to
Oh, okay.
play. And maybe recent usually is supposed to show like the latest titles and things that you did on your computer, file openings and things like that. It doesn't do that in Windows 11. It shows some kind of order of what you opened up in some type of file. It's not always the most recent thing you did. So here, I mean, obviously I can't judge it because it's a picture, but I mean, it's a similar concept, history. I guess that makes more sense, history. I like the word recent better. The icons and everything like that, this is very sharp. Like this work is amazing looking to just look at. It's got a lot of color. I don't like the all apps area here at all. I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the drop down list, like we always had in Windows 7 and before and all that stuff. This area here, if we did have live tiles, I would love it because I would love to see, instead of opening up Task Manager, like how my computer is performing. Um, Launching games and stuff. This is pretty much Windows 7, or not Windows 7, Windows 10. Library, I don't know if library means game library or it just means all your applications. I think it's game library because it's the same thing in the Xbox app.
Yeah, I
So
think so.
this will be a little confusing to some people because I feel like my mom might go to library because it looks like a button to go open up her apps if she even went to the
Mm.
start menu, you know.
Yeah.
But down here looks good. I gotta say, I like the colors of different things. If Gmail actually had an app, you know, I like that.
Yeah, for yeah, anything I say, I hope is not going to be taken as it's perhaps just constructive. But yeah, I hope it's constructive, not bad. But I think like overall, I do like the fact that like power users I think would like this, like that you can do so much in the start menu. Like
Hmm.
yeah, like have widgets, have apps, have recent stuff. It's nice in that sense. Um, but then yeah, the non-power user I don't think perhaps would care
Hmm.
about knowing what the CPU is running at. I think they just care it's running
Yeah.
like enough for them to do stuff. Um,
Hmm.
so things like that. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, I think it could be quite big. Um, yeah, but I do like the games idea. Like bringing games into your start menu is like
Hmm.
cool because like that's
Do
gonna
I have that now? Let me see. I guess
like
I
you
do
can have
have that now.
apps, but like
Yeah.
having like
Oh, like their icon, like the tile type thing,
yeah
like on Xbox. Yeah,
yeah, that's cool because
that's pretty cool.
yeah, it could show you the latest games and Game Pass or something.
Yeah.
And then it's tying in other services from Microsoft. That's something a lot of people might hate, um, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm open to it.
But all of these things are like subjective because like they're
Yeah,
showing you like if this was a thing, right?
yeah,
These are the types of things that would go on it. It
uh-huh.
doesn't mean that these would be the default things. These would be the types of things like a
True.
performance monitor, this, that. I remember seeing one that was like an audio player to finally be able to pause your
Okay.
music in the start menu.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know who would actually do that, but I mean, you could do
Mm-hmm.
that. Like iOS, I don't believe has that either, even on their, launcher.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing. And then down here too, music controls, more music controls, like we just said.
Yeah. I really like that.
Uh,
That's
I
nice.
like it, but to figure out where you'd put it, I guess they add it to all of these things here. If it's not centered, that's where the
Mm-hmm.
issue comes in, is moving this where when this goes back to the left.
Uh-huh.
Because it's going to be too much stuff on such a small screen to be putting here. Like
Uh-huh.
keep lining it up all the way here, and then you have like 5 applications open plus this open here. So it's like half your screen here is
Yeah.
just stuff, and it's too much stuff.
Yeah.
So, but
At,
yeah.
le- at least if they're having the weather widget there, I would like to be able to control music because the idea perhaps if I'm working on something, being able to just like not have to switch window.
Hmm.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's going to go next track and stay in the same
Yeah.
window. Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, so now let's finish this up because it's been a very long time. Final things. We have each of us have an app pick of the week or a pick of the week, and what I typically like to do is I don't typically do it on only the store stuff, because I found this app that I found originally on GitHub, but then I found out it's actually on the store. Um, so for my app pick of the week, I decided to. Uh, Ironically, we were talking about widgets, and this is a widget app. It's called Power Widgets. Let me see if I can switch the screen over. It's called Power Widgets. It's available on everything. Not sure how it's available on Xbox, but it's available on everything. It's from the developer Winsoft. If I remember his name correctly, I'll put it in the show notes for everyone else to look at. Right now, it's on sale for the next 30 days for 99 cents instead of $1.20. Not sure why they title it $1.20. But what it does, apparently, and I'll do an app review on this when time comes, um, basically puts better Fluent widgets in Windows. Because currently the widgets is not very good. It shows you Kim Kardashian's clothing of choice or Scarlett Johansson's latest Scarlett Johanssonness. So, um, but this brings you customizable widgets, like he says, to the feed. Obviously, I haven't even gotten it yet, but I'll get it probably later today. And it just looks good. This looks like a concept, a piece of like a concept work, but it's functional. You can actually get it right now and use it. Not sure how easy it is to use, but it looks nice. And so like they have, like it says, fast access to important features. You can easily get into Edge and a bunch of things. It kind of brings back tiles in a way. It's back to Windows, but without bringing back tiles in a way. And it's because it's widgets. Widgets are the new tiles. It says interactive search. We'll have to find out about that in a future video. With the Microsoft Edge widget, I hope they have other widgets than just Edge widget, because that would be Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. I hope they have other widgets. And then mail and plugin with the Outlook widget. And then, of course, they have to talk about Panos Panay. Have you tried the new widgets for Windows? No, he has not. um, and then of course, you got to have light and dark theme for all of it. And this app just looks good to me. It looks nice. The developer's pretty active. I'm sure that as soon as I make the video, he'll notice that I've made the video on it. It's one of those things that I look at when I'm always looking for the next thing that someone's thinking differently about. Because unfortunately, you can't expect a big corporation like Microsoft, who has to cater to billions of people, to do something like this. It takes a small team or small person to do this kind of thing. And luckily, this is 99 cents. I wish it was free, obviously, but we can't have everything free. Someone has to make a living. But it's only 99 cents. That's not even a Starbucks drink. So that's like a fifth of a Starbucks drink. And so I'd recommend taking a look at it. Of course, I'll make a video when that time comes for me to really showcase it. And maybe I'll even, when I get my external touchscreen monitor, I can actually see if it works with touch, because this looks like something that should be touched, but I'm not sure, because even the screenshot has like a Surface or something, like whatever, a fake device here. So yeah, that is my pick of the week. What is your pick of the week?
So I just went with something which I've really liked for a long time, which is the XAML controls gallery, which has the nice UI of showing you all the different Windows UI elements which you can use, which is hopefully what a lot of the new apps Windows will feature, this UI and future apps which are going to be developed on the Microsoft Store. So I know here that Kwaku does lots of videos on apps. So if there's any of you creating apps, hopefully you take a look at this app, because it will help you with the integration of controls. And this is something I myself like to contribute to on GitHub, and it's a really nice community if anyone does want to contribute to as well. It's a really cool app to see developer stuff, I guess. Yeah. And
you're pretty much I'm pretty much the Paul Thurrott of you being Mary Jo Foley at this point. I'm just like, Mary Jo's like, I don't really care about consumer stuff. But yeah, it's anything with apps, honestly. Like it's I'm all for it. And then if I actually learn to make an app, a Hello World app in Fluent, I'll make sure to make that thing the #1 app on the Microsoft Store. A Hello World application just shows one piece of text and that's it, but it's very fluent with everything needed. Prime example.
Yeah, like there's because of the lack of apps on the Microsoft Store, like traditional apps that you're used to on your phone might not be there on the store. So you don't have to come up with the next Netflix or the next next big app. You can just create one which already exists on other platforms. Just make it with nice UI.
Yep, that's it. Just make everything look nice, and people will come. Look at iPhone side. What is that? Move that out of the way. There we go. But yeah, so we're now at the end of the show. Finally, it's been the longest one so far, just because finally there's a conversation. It's not one-sided, and this person knows just as much as I do, if not more, about the whole Microsoft and tech ecosystem as well. So before we go, I just want to ask you, Sam, do you have anything you want to talk about or you want to let everyone know that you're working on?
Not particularly. So hopefully me and Kwaku get to do more stuff going forward. I only met him like yesterday, and I feel like I've known him for a long time now. We have a lot in common. Both doing uni or college stuff. One of my projects I'm working on is mixed reality, and I know you do a lot of mixed reality.
Yep, and I'm working towards mixed reality stuff too. Yep.
Yeah, and Windows stuff. Yeah. So
and where can they find you then? to find all that mixed reality stuff.
Oh, right. Thanks. Yeah. So on YouTube, I have a channel as well, which is Salman NKC, LinkedIn, Twitter, stuff like that. So yeah, but
I for them.
Thank you, thank you. But yeah, really really honored to be on this podcast with you, and I think it's great, and you're doing amazing work for the community.
I'm playing gonna be background music. Sorry about that.
Hey, it's me.
There's this channel right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for joining me on this one. I know we had a lot of we technically would have been done a long time ago, but all the issues that came up with the audio and everything like that. But yeah, as well, people can know that where they can find me and this podcast at this point, obviously youtube.com/nextwindows. And then they can also listen to the podcast after it's up on the channel as on the video for the video side of things. But it's on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Stitcher, and all the other ones out there for the audio version. I could put the video up, but I'll just do audio for that, for those long commuters. But yeah, stay tuned for more stuff from the channel. I've got a bunch of things written down that's going to come to this channel. And I got a major series that almost feel like YouTube Red series soon, probably towards the springtime. That first pilot will be out. So stay tuned for that. That's why it's been a little slow on the channel, because I've been working on side projects. But yeah, hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thanks for listening. And we will catch you all in the next one, probably in late February. Yeah, late February, monthly. So take care.